Hello and welcome to SteamPunk. This is your host, SteamPunk Bob, and today is Rogue Legacy. First off, the word rogue in the title does refer to 1980s Rogue, so check here for what that means if you're unsure. Next up, it's worth noting this isn't a true roguelike. There's no bang potions, and it's real-time rather than turn-based. However, it does maintain the appropriate level of difficulty for the most part. Like pretty much every roguelike, there is character improvement, and this is where the legacy part of the title comes to bear. Upon death, someone listens to your hero's last words, then grabs their wallet and runs out of the dungeon. With the treasure, you can buy upgrades for your future characters. Then you throw another one of your descendants into the meat grinder. Each generation, you get 3 characters to choose from, with randomly determined names, classes, traits, and spells. Some traits are entirely good, some quite bad, and there are some that don't seem to actually affect gameplay at all. This generational gimmick works nicely for gameplay, but I really start questioning from a story perspective. Remember, this is heavily inspired by roguelikes. The bodies pile up fast. Now look at the mechanic of each character being roguelike, the next generation. This family has thrown, at the last time I bothered counting, 100 generations at this castle. 100! Is this castle really worth this much death in the family? For that matter, why haven't we just invented gunpowder and just razed this accursed place to the ground? There's a sort of explanation provided in diary entries found throughout the game, but nuking the site from orbit still seems like the best option. The game's controls are okay. They took a lot of getting used to for me, and I still mess up with them more than I'd like. The music it isn't bad, I guess, but after only a few hours of gameplay, I turned the music off and started listening to Chrono Symphonic, which is what you're hearing now. It just felt more fantasy and epic to me. The music, again, wasn't bad, this is better. One item that bugs me far more than it probably should. The walk animation. Look at how you hold your sword. This looks even goofier for the Spell Thief class, as they only summon a sword when it's needed, but uphold the family tradition of holding their arm up like that anyway. Looking silly aside, how strong must our hero's wrists be? This is a big sword. For a regular-sized hero, that is, not dwarf, giant, fat, or skinny, the male and female hero are the same height, so I'm estimating around 5'10", 70 inches, as in a tall woman or a relatively average-sized man. The sword is quite close to the same height, so we'll call it 65 inches long. It looks broader than our head, but less than shoulder width, so I'm calling it 5.5 inches wide on average. Completely guesswork, but I decided an average 3/4 inch thickness and assumed the sword is made of steel, not iron. My sources, with all those numbers, say that's roughly a 35 kilogram sword. Next, I estimated the center of mass for Sir Gouda II's sword to be at the top of the yellow section, which is what I consider the top of the structural area, and the rest is where it's just puttering off to be sharp, like a sword should be. Now, our hero holds this sword at pretty much dead on a 45-degree angle, making this as far away as possible for a lever arm. My numbers, again, estimates, say that our hero's wrist torque is approximately 313 Newton meters, or about 231 foot-pounds. I'm not really a car guy, but I compared this to numbers I found online, and according to Autosnout.com, then our hero's wrist is capable of putting out more torque than a 1996 Fiat Coup 2.0 Turbo. Another issue I did have with the game is it has a bit of an Act 2 slump, in that you're not really powerful enough to handle an area, so you just have to throw children into the meat grinder, gathering treasure until you are. It's like level grinding, but with more death involved. Final thoughts? It's definitely not a bad game. It's probably worth picking up. Definitely worth picking up on sale. Anyway, this is SteamPunk Bob, out. This video does not do justice to Lady Henrietta's heroic spaz attack as she flailed trying to figure out if she was falling or not.